So right now we're close to the end of April, and by now most people have filed your tax already and you should have your tax refund. And more often than not, my clients always ask me, what should I be spending my tax refund on to give me the maximum return on the maximum wealth growth? So I want to make a very quick video here to talk about a couple of things that you can consider on how you might be spending that tax refund. But if instead you're someone that owes money and you're wondering why that is happening, you should also check out my previous video where I listed the top 5 reasons of why people owe money at the end of the year. Alright, so let's dive into it, and the first thing you should consider when you get your tax refund is maybe just spend it. Now, it might sound crazy here, why would a financial planner tell you to spend your tax refund instead of reinvesting it? But sometimes that is what you would have to do because you do have expense coming up. But I want to make clear that there are 2 types of people that spends their tax refund. The first group are the people that actually contributes to RRSP, they do their tax planning. They know the extra tax refund they will be getting back, and they're consciously using that amount to plan for expenses that will be coming, for example, a vacation. The other group of people are the ones that don't know how much tax refund they'll be getting. They're surprised when they get it, and as soon as they get it, they start thinking about all the extra purchases they will be able to do, or the extra trip they are now able to take that they didn't account for in the first place. The first group of people is completely okay, and the second group of people is not, because that is not conscious spending. You're just spending extra when you see extra money in your account, and that will be harmful for you in the long run. So if you had planned for it, then just spend it. But if you're someone that didn't plan for it and you simply saw extra money from a tax refund, then you should move on to the second or the third option. And the second option here would be to pay off your loans. Now here, there are 2 things you want to consider before doing this option. First one is, what is the interest rate on this loan and how is it compared to possibly reinvesting on the side instead? Usually, if you are very confident or it's a high probability to get a higher return by reinvesting versus paying down into the loan, then you should probably reinvest because it will help you, it will give you more money in the long run. So for that to happen, usually your loan needs to be about 5 or 6% or lower. Any loans that is above that amount, especially if there's no tax write-off by keeping this loan around and paying interest on it, you should probably consider prioritizing it first and pay it down first. Now with that logic, the worst kind of debt to keep would be credit card debt. This is easily 19 or 29% a year. You absolutely do not want to owe credit card. So if you have tax refund and you have credit card debt, pay everything into that debt right now to pay it down as much as possible. But other than interest rate, you should also consider what kind of person you are and how comfortable you are with a loan on the side. Many people, even if the math checks out, even if it's more beneficial to reinvest in the future, they're the type that is very conservative and they just don't want to have any debt on the side. And if what I just described is you, then you should pay down your debt even if it's better to reinvest in the future, because it's better to go through and handle your finance at a better emotional state than to always consistently be worried, even if that action is supposed to give you a better result. Now moving forward, the third thing to consider doing is to simply reinvest it, and most of the time for my clients, this is something that we will be looking at. Now, if you do not have any other goal other than buying your first home or just saving it for a long run in general, nothing other than that, nothing specific, then you should prioritize your first home saving account and then your RRSP and finally your TFSA. Now, the reason I prioritize FHSA or RRSP before TFSA if it's for long term is because of tax deduction. With that tax deduction, it's going to be very powerful if you compound that forward. So let me show you what I mean. So I've built a simple chart to illustrate this compounding effect by looking at the person for 5 years. So let's say this person always buys $5,000 of RRSP and he's always at the 30% tax bracket. So for the first year when he buys the first $5,000 RRSP, he's gonna times 30% and get an extra $1,500 for next year when he files tax. So right now his RRSP account will be $5,000 plus some change depending if there's growth in it or not. Now come next year, he's gonna put another $5,000 in. But by here, in April, he's going to get that $1,500 in extra tax saving when he's filing tax because of RSP last year. If he were to reinvest this into an RSP as well, he would have put down $6,500 for year 2. And at the end of year 2, depending on what kind of growth is in the account, he can have anywhere from $11,500 to $12,600-ish. And starting year 3, he does the same thing, but this time his tax refund is even more because he bought $6,500 of RRSP. He's going to reinvest that $1,950 into an RRSP again, which brings him to a total of $6,950 of new investment. If we keep doing this for 5 years, he would have contributed 25K from his pocket, but his account value is going to be anywhere from 32,600 to almost 40,000 depending on his return. But that's not it, because we only looked at 5 years. What if we extend this to 20, 30, or even 40 years? As you can see on the chart, he would have given out 100K or 200K out of his pocket, that is his saving. But his end account value can go upwards to almost $1 million. That's 5x return on his saving. As you can see, this is why FHSA or RSP is very, very powerful if you're willing to contribute regularly and compound the tax saving by reinvesting it into these accounts. However, these accounts do have the contribution room limit, so be mindful what is your limit so you don't go over them, because there will be penalties if you do. And these accounts are generally more restricted if you want to take money out for use. FHSA is really great if it's saving for your first home. RSP can also be for your first home up to $35,000, but the rest should be kept for long-term retirement use. So this is why I said if you have other goals other than your first home or just long-term investing, if you have, for example, for a car, for buying a bike, for other hobbies, then you should probably reinvest your tax refund into a TFSA instead and not FHSA or RSP. Now finally, the last option for your tax refund would be to use it to build up your emergency fund. For single people or young couples with no kids, 3 months of your usual monthly expense is minimal, 6 months is more ideal. But if you have kids, I would say 6 months is minimal and 9 to 12 months is more ideal. And as for investment choice, I don't recommend investing your emergency fund because you might use it anytime, but I do recommend checking out different rates on high interest saving accounts or money market funds and see which one pays higher. Especially now with high interest rate, money market funds out there do pay quite a bit higher than your usual high interest saving account. So if you're interested, you can also search for them on Google. All of these are really low risk options for you, and it's perfect for emergency fund. Alright, so that's everything. Let me know in the comment down below how you'll be spending your tax refund, and if you have any questions, let me know in the comment down below as well. And if you like the content, make sure you give me a like or follow the channel. This is how you can help with the algorithm. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. Bye!